guys, it's Chloe here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. So today guys, I have decided to dedicate this video slot this week to a story that is very personal to me and something that I have touched on, in the past briefly on this channel, but I haven't exactly explained it. And that is my depression and anxiety story. What happened and what led up to the diagnosis and how I'm dealing with it now is pretty much the basis of it. It is just going to be a story, touching on that subject and touching on how it started and then how it grew and what happens still today in my life. So sit back, enjoy. Hopefully this can be used positively, because depression and anxiety, many people suffer with it, unfortunately, and I wish I could just get a vacuum, suck it all up and just shoot it into space and just get all the anxiety and depression and all those other mental health issues and other really bad things in the world, suck it all up and just blast it into space and just send it away. It's horrible, and I feel that by sharing my story, maybe someone may be feeling the same and is not really sure what's going on in their head. So let me just begin the story and we'll go from there. Okie dokie guys, so we're going to start the story off, and this all kicks off in year 11 at school. And at this time I'm 16 years old. These feelings would wash over me while I was at school. So I started to feel alone when I wasn't alone. I would be sat with all my friends at school and they'd just be talking at lunch and stuff like that, and I would feel like there was no one in the room and I was really lonely and I felt out of place in a way. Like I didn't belong in that building, I didn't belong in that school, I didn't belong with that group of friends. These were just in the back of my mind. These symptoms got worse. Who doesn't 100% hate school? I actually enjoyed school up till this point when all this started going on. I actually enjoyed going, to meet all my friends and just learn. I did enjoy that. And then when these emotions and stuff started kicking in, I used to hate going to school. I used to hate school. I used to try and find every excuse in the book to not go. And I hated being in the building. As soon as I stepped one foot into the school building like that, these emotions would flood me and they'd be with me for the rest of the day until I go to sleep. I have always been a shy person, I'm not gonna lie. In real life I'm more of an introvert. I like to keep myself to myself and, do my thing and let other people do their thing. I'm not an extrovert in any way. On the channel it might come across that I am, but in real life I'm very quiet, I'm very shy, I'm very reserved, and once you get to know me, you discover I have a funny side, a comical side, a sarcastic side, as my mother would call it. When you first meet me, I'm very quiet, I'm very shy, I'll keep myself to myself, I won't bother you as long as you won't bother me. This began to get worse, especially, and I hate the fact that it did, especially around my dad. Now, me and my dad have always had a good relationship. I have always been his little girl. He still calls me his little girl up till now. And when these feelings started to come about, I used to get shy about talking to him about stuff and asking him for things. Like, you can go up to your dad and go, "Hey dad, can I go out with my friends?" I used to hate being, to ask my dad anything like that. I used to go and ask my mum and then she'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's fine with me. Make sure it's alright with your dad." And then I used to be like, "Can you ask him for me?" And my mum was like, "No, I can't, because you want it, so you ask for it." So that was kind of how I was scared to ask him in case he'd say no, or in case I made him angry. I got it in my head that if I was going to ask him for something, I would make him angry. Now I know that that's not the case. It's either going to be, I'll think about it, or no, or yeah, sure, no problem, if I ask him for stuff. I know that now, but back then I was scared to, ask him. I was like, if I ask my dad, will it make him mad at me for asking him this certain thing? He began to notice that, and he would talk to my mum about it, and my mum would talk with me about it, and that's another story for another time. But yeah, our relationship, father and daughter relationship, began to sort of shift a bit, and it wasn't as close as it was. Right now, it's getting closer again. It's getting back to how it was. It's not 100% like father and daughter, you know, like that, but it's getting there, is what I'm going to say. I would call these random events episodes. So the episodes began to get darker, and they got darker to a point where I would start randomly crying. For no apparent reason, I would just start getting upset and crying and just bursting into tears, and I didn't know why I was sad, and I felt horrible and terrible, and I just felt awful. I was just crying, I was just full of sadness, and I had no idea why. I would text my mum to be like, Mum, I feel sick, please come and get me, and stuff like that. And she wouldn't respond after a while. Like, the first time she was like, Chloe, what's wrong? And like, she phoned me at one point when I was having all these episodes and stuff like that, and she was going, what's the matter with you? You have to be in school, what's the matter with you? And I was saying, I don't know, I just hate being here, I'm really sad, and I've just got all this emotion going on and on and on about me, and please come and get me. I don't want to be here whatsoever. And she would go, what's wrong? Are you being bullied? Did someone say something to you? Did someone upset you? My mum thought at this point I was being bullied and I wasn't talking about it. And I was like, no Mum, it's nothing like that. I'm not being bullied. In my whole school career, I have never been bullied. I've had mean names called to me, you know, that standard thing. But I've never had like a bully and me relationship like thing about school. I never had that. I'm glad I didn't, to be honest, because I don't think I'd have coped. So she would go, okay, calm down, relax, and she would listen to me on the phone as I'm talking to it, and she would calm me down, and then I'd be like, oh, back to normal. It'd be like a switch clicked inside me, and I was back to normal. So after a few of these episodes happening, my mum began to get really, really angry at me. The fact that I was texting her to say I wanted to come home, I didn't want to be there. So we had an argument over the phone that one time, and for the rest of the school day I felt terrible. So I came home from school and my mum goes, you alright? And you know, we say hello to each other and stuff like that, and I just burst into tears again and crying, and she goes, Chloe, what's the matter with you? Are you being bullied? What's going on? You know, my mum trying to calm her daughter down, you know, and I would answer her every single time with, I don't know what's wrong with me. This just keeps happening. I keep crying for no apparent reason. Now, for the next part of the story, I have to let you guys know that depression and anxiety is very common in our family. My nan has anxiety and depression. It does run in the family, so thankfully, you know, my mum sort of saw these signs and she was like, okay, we need to do something about this. Okay, so guys, the next part of the story, after a few more of these tearful episodes where I'm just feeling horrible in myself and don't want to be at school, don't want to do anything really with my life, I just want to sit in my room and, you know, be alone. My mum takes me to our doctors, our local GP and stuff like that, and we had a doctor, I'm going to give him the name of Dr. Smith, let's just call him Dr. Smith. So we went in, we saw Dr. Smith, and he was not really the supportive doctor. He's not really like, you know, trying to be as helpful as he probably should have been more. He was just kind of trying to brush me and my mum, you know, under the carpet in a way, like, you know, this isn't really important to me. He said, basically, in that appointment, I'll refer you to a specialist and we'll see what happens. And I was like, okay. And he also said, go and see a school counsellor. Maybe it's just you being a teenager and being a bit emotional. And I went and saw a school counsellor. We all called the school counsellor Ken. I went and saw a school counsellor a few times a week from those few weeks on, and he helped me. He helped me begin to start talking again to my dad, and he began to help understand my feelings and stuff like that, which was really good. So these tearful episodes began to subside. So during this period of me going to see Dr. Smith and going to the counsellor before I get to see the specialist, and I loved the specialist, but that's for a later date, I began to feel worse. Like the outside emotions began to fade, like I wasn't crying as much and stuff like that, but it was inside that began to change and be like creating something in my mind. I began at night feeling awful and losing sleep and hearing voices in my head, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I heard voices in my head. So these voices would be telling me that I'm no good and I'm just putting my family down and I'm not, you know, good enough to be on this planet, and just putting me down like that. These voices are almost like having like 3 or 4 people stood around you, and they follow you around everywhere, and they're constantly picking at things that you're doing wrong. Like, are you sure you did that right? No, you got that wrong. No, this isn't right. Oh God, really? You're gonna put that on? Or really? You're gonna have your hair like that today? And just making me go from to I hate my life, I hate myself. And I'm gonna say this now. My mother, my mum, my lovely mother, who I would not trade for the world, who I love 100% and I would do anything for, that is why I'm wearing a dress for her wedding. She was my rock through this. She was always there, and she was my supportive, you know, she was there to lift me back up, and she was like, don't listen to these voices. These voices are just part of your, you know, imagination. You know what you're good at. You know your strengths and weaknesses. Just ignore these voices. You are a good student. You do well. You've got good grades. Come on. Get these, you know, snap out of it and kind of slap me into reality again. That's what my mum's role was. Finally, get an appointment to see the specialist. And I am feeling really anxious about this appointment, really scared, really nervous. I'm not really sure whether it's going to, you know, because the other doctor I saw, Dr. Smith, was a douchebag. But this doctor, we'll call him Dr. Adam, was completely different. Now, I walk into the room with my mum, and Dr. Adams is sat there in his chair, and he goes, hi Chloe, hi, we'll just say Mrs. Bruff. Mrs. Bruff, come in, sit down. And he had a woman shadowing him called, we'll just call her Lisa. She didn't really say anything, but yeah. Dr. Adams was so kind, so helpful, and he actually was a lot better of a doctor compared to this Dr. Smith. And Lisa, throughout this, because she's just shadowing Dr. Adams, she didn't say anything, but she did offer me a few tissues when I did get tearful and stuff like that. I explained to Dr. Adams my lack of sleep, my emotions, the voice inside my head, which were putting me down. And he was so kind and so understanding, and he was like, okay, calm down, you know, we're gonna go over this. And he did go into detail, and I did have to, you know, open doors which I had shut and tried to lock, but the feelings were getting back through. He explains to me and my mum that he thinks that I am suffering with anxiety, high social anxiety, and borderline depression, which I later get diagnosed with. He assured me that there's nothing to worry about. He's like, don't worry, many people in the country suffer with this. You're not alone. We're here to help you. Your mum is here to support you, which I know she was anyway. And I'm sure you have friends who are here to support you. And I know I had at least one friend who I could count on, Grace. And he prescribed me, he started me on a prescription, which I am still on to this day. And I am coming off it next month. So we shall see. This is the medication I am on. It is called fluoxetine. And I'll just show you when it comes in. It comes in tablet form. I have to take one of those every morning when I wake up, every day, once a day. And he started me off with a liquid version of this, which tasted, I'm gonna just say it was horrible. And it was disgusting. But eventually I did go onto the tablets, which I'm on now. So those are the tablets which I have to take every single day. And I'm slowly weaning myself off them. That's why I've only got the one box. He started me on this medication prescription, and we were having additional sessions alongside this appointment, and slowly I began to see my old self re-emerge, come back, and you know, I felt that I was myself again in a way. I felt like, oh my god, I can finally smile, I feel happy, and I feel really good in myself. Okay guys, so the next part is, this is the time where I have finished school now, and I am halfway through my first year at college, which was the animal care course at the college. During this time in the college, these feelings that had been keeping me down during my last year of secondary school began to return, began to resurface. I began to feel down and sad again and crying again, and seeing these feelings come back, I went into full panic mode. I was like, oh my god, what's going on again now? These feelings continued all the way through that course until I left that college. Now I'm going to say this now, that college I was at, I'm not going to name it, because other people have had good experiences and other people have had bad experiences. I had a bad experience at that college. Doesn't mean it's a bad college, I just had a bad experience at it. I felt that the staff didn't really support me in the way that I probably should have been supported. I left that college after finishing that course. I got a overall merit on that course, because you got merits, distinctions and pass grades. I managed to get myself a merit grade, which I was really proud of, and I still am really proud of. Anyway, I had turned 18 at this time. After all of this going on with the college and stuff like that, I began to see my old self come back, you know, and the stress of college began to fade away. And I was returning to normal in a way, and I was beginning to smile again. I was beginning to remember my old self and the person who I was before all of this. The person I still am today, despite this horrible, horrible thing going on in my head. And it was at this time, guys, that I started my YouTube channel, which was at that time named WolfLover96724, which later changed to PureChloe. Now, when I first created my YouTube channel, I saw that as like my escape from my life, my escape from the real world, you know. When I was making a video for this channel, I wasn't Chloe, the anxious, depressed person. I was Chloe, the happy, bubbly person who had loads of guinea pigs and, you know, enjoyed making videos. And as I began on this YouTube journey, making more videos and, you know, moving through, it became my happy spot. And it still is my happy spot. Every time I log in and I see that, oh, we've got another subscriber, or oh, someone's commented on a video, or oh, someone's filmed up a video, that kind of releases a little joy in me, and I'm just so happy about it. So I'm going to thank you guys and girls for that. Every day, I begin to improve, and I'm still beginning to understand why these feelings occur and how can I prevent it from happening again. I went back to see Dr. Adams after finishing my second year of college, and I was signed off from him, and he signed me back over to my local GP again, because it was like a children's unit that I was on, like a children's mental health unit that I was under, like, service. And obviously when you turn 18, you know, you have to leave that service and go back into the adult world because you are now an adult. So I just wanted to say, he's not really called Dr. Adams. Dr. Adams, you probably know who you are. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all that support and helping me understand that I'm not weird and these feelings inside me are not, you know, stupid or horrible, and I'm not a weirdo for having feelings like this. Other people do suffer with it. So I continue, guys, to fight and to keep myself positive and to keep myself happy every single day, which is what I'm going to encourage you guys, and which is why I have the do what you love as life is better when you smile on my channel, because I think that's a really good quote and it's something we can all live by as long as we're doing something in our life that we enjoy, we love. You know, it doesn't matter what people think about us. As long as you guys can be happy and do something that you love, whether it be a college course that maybe your parents don't want you to do because, you know, they want you to follow a different career path, but you want to do it. It's your life at the end of the day, guys. Live it your way. That's what I'm going to say. Live it your way and don't live for others. Live for yourself because it's your life, not theirs. They have their life, you have your life. Okay, guys, so that was my anxiety and depression story. I hope you have enjoyed, or it has opened your eyes up a little bit. If you have, guys, please leave a massive thumbs up. You know, lets me know that you are supporting me, and leave some comments down below, guys. I would like to do a Q&A on this. So if you guys have got any comments about this, or got any questions whatsoever that you feel you want answering, feel free, guys, to leave them down below in the comment section. I will also leave an email in the description, so if you want to remain anonymous, I cannot say that word. If you want to remain anonymous, I cannot say that word. If you don't want to be named, there we go. If you don't want to be named, you can email me on there and I'll just give you a different name and I'll read your question that way. Or even if you just want to, you know, give me a private message over that email, feel free to, because the more that we can support each other, the better. You should always try and support people, and you shouldn't be always trying to bring them down. Any comments or anything is gratefully appreciated. You know, positive, happy comments. I would be so grateful to hear from you guys about this. And finally, guys, if you haven't yet already, please hit the subscribe button. We are currently at 344 subscribers. So thank you guys so much for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll be seeing you all on Wednesday for another video. Bye-bye.